First of all, let me preface this video by saying I am not a contractor. I have never built anything like this before. It has been a challenge from the start. In fact, I think the first day I sat and I said, I just have to have confidence in myself. I can do it if I have confidence. And I said that several days since, but I knew what I wanted. I knew it for a while. I just had to get to the point where it made sense for me to actually do it. The circumstances that I worked in were not great. My husband and I live in a condo. We don't have a garage. We have a carport. Most of the time, I was working in the parking lot in front of our condo. Not even in front of our condo. It was quite a trek sometimes to take the wood back and forth from the patio to the car. And I think I gave our neighbors quite a show sometimes. But it was fun. You know, I enjoyed it. I took my time. I measured and measured and measured some more. I was able to draw a diagram to show Home Depot who cut my wood, and I will be sharing that with you, and I'm happy to share. And this video may seem a little jumbled up at times because some of it was filmed recently after the build, and some of it was filmed during the build. I tried to piece it together as best I could, so just bear with me on that point. The tools that I used were pretty simple. It was just a tape measure and a level. I used a jigsaw when I needed to trim some of the wood around some of the corners. I sanded with just a small sander. The most important tool that I used was a drill. I have a cordless drill, and it had a Phillips head, and then I also have a drill bit to drill some pilot holes. I didn't always do that, and I learned a lesson about cracking wood. So that's kind of an important step. Ideally, if I had 2 drills, it would have been nice. You're going to need a box of screws to put the wood together. I think the screws were 1.5 inch, something like that, because each board was 3/4 inches. So whatever sounds right to you, that's what it was. I didn't measure the screws. For the hinges, most of the screws came with the hinges that I bought. There's piano hinges, there's struts, and there's folding hinges for the flip up where I extend my bed for my feet. There's the Lagun-style table. That came with very long screws, so I did have to purchase smaller bolts. I guess they're called not screws, they're bolts. And I believe those were 2 inch that I finally ended up getting. But I got the same size thread and just used the same nuts on them. I'll go over all of that in the video. And if there's something that I left out that you have a question about, you can always leave a comment below. And I welcome your questions. And what's more, if you are planning on using either all or part of this build, I would love to know about it. All right, our first trip is going to be to go into Home Depot to talk a little bit about wood and show you how you're going to talk to them about cutting it for you. There's a certain way that I designed the 4x8 piece of plywood to make it very easy for them to do and not be wasting a lot of their time. So let's go. And while we're there, if you don't already have one, pick up your tape measure, your level, your jigsaw, your sander, and of course your drill with the Phillips head and the drill bit. Now there's different grades of plywood. There's different thicknesses as well. And they're all different priced. So what you want is 3/4 inch. Let's see what they have over here. This is pressed wood. This is going to be very, very heavy, and it's not going to hold up well in long term. It flakes a lot, so don't buy that. This is some kind of like a composition wood. This isn't bad, but you have to paint the whole thing. It's not very pretty. This is a coated wood, but it's still pressed. It gives you some protection over here. But again, it's very heavy. I'm not seeing a very good variety here. This here just looks like regular plywood. You're going to have to sand it quite a bit. It's got some knots in it, looks like. It's another piece of regular plywood. Boy, they don't have any. Let's see over here. This is a little bit nicer here. It has a finish on it. The problem with some of these woods is they chip on the end. Mine chipped quite a bit on the end too. This might be good for like the side walls. Boy, I'm not seeing any custom wood here. Let me try the other aisle. The kind that I got is called red oak. It had a really nice finish on it. Let's see what we got here. These are very thin. See how thin this is? That's not going to be good. This is like a paneling. Yeah. Huh. Okay, this is similar to what I got here. This wouldn't be bad at all. This looks like it's probably 3/4. That's a decent piece of wood. You know, ideally, if I could get a real piece of wood, I'd actually prefer that. So just look around and see what they have. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this piece of wood right here and I'm going to tape it up and I'm going to show you how I had Home Depot cut it for me. Lowe's will do the same thing. Or, you know, if you have the tools at home or somebody that you know has them, you can easily do it at home. This is another nice piece of wood. Let me see what kind it is. This is birch, but the problem is it's only 1/2 inch. I don't know whether they have that in 3/4 inch. Alright, so what I decided to do is get a regular piece of wood. This is that birch wood. It's 1/2 inch. They're out of the 3/4. This would be a decent wood to get. It's a little pricey though. And again, it's still, it might chip on the end. Pine is good as well. So let's measure this out. The way that I have this laid out is each section is 1 unit. This first section is the back unit. It consists of the 2 side boards where the bed will set when these 2 middle boards flip up. And I'm going to put these measurements in like a PDF for you. This next section is the bed unit. It's going to be the top, the side, and the front. So now you have the back and you have the rest of the bed. You're going to have a little bit left over on the bottom. It's a little bit crooked, but it's late and these are not totally, boy, that's really crooked. But they're going to cut it straight for you. You're just going to tell them the measurements. And what you're going to tell them is you want them to cut first down. You're going to cut that one. Then they're going to cut this one down. I'm going to go over that again with you in a little bit.
In the PDF, each section is labeled, and you'll know what pieces go in each unit. And I laid it out on the board so it doesn't take too much time for someone to cut the wood. You can take the paper in and you can show them the layout, but you're really just going to tell them the measurements and show them which way to cut it to where it doesn't take very much time. The pieces with the X are just boards that are too long and they need to be trimmed off. This is what the PDF looks like, but it's important for you to first learn about the process for how I have this designed to where it's easy for them to cut, or you yourself for that matter.
The way that you're going to have them cut this is you're going to have them cut right here all the way down. Then put it aside. The next one you're going to have them cut, you're going to have them cut this one all the way down. Then put it aside. The next one you're going to have them cut, you're just going to have them cut strips all the way down. Put it aside. The next one, this one here, all the way down. Then put it aside. Then they're going to take the wood, you're going to turn it on the side. There's only going to be this part. So then they're going to cut these right here. Put it aside. Next piece of wood. They're going to cut this. Okay? Each one going all the way down. First you're going to go this way. Then they're going to cut this way.
Then you need to choose some wood for the side walls. I chose this, kind of looks like a wainscoting. So now you have all the wood cut. Do you see how that whiteboard from the front, the right side here, it slopes up? You need to make a template to cut that board. You can make a template by putting some foil and molding it all around here, cutting poster board. You can get a board, a longer board, and you take a piece of paper and just go all along like this and make a line, you know, with a pencil or whatever, and you're going to see that it's actually going to do the same curvature as your floor by doing that. That's actually what we did. We used, I believe we just used a piece of wood and went all along the floor and traced it out. And that's how we got it. But there's different methods that you can use. And then trim the bottom of both inside boards. Now place the board that you just cut onto your back board, onto your wall. Measure the height that you want your back wall to be all the way down that board. And then keep going because it's going to be level toward the back as well. I believe my height was 16 inches, so I'm going from the top to the top of that board 16 inches. Then I'm going to mark across the bottom of that board to get my curvature. And then I'm going to cut the board. Then I'm going to check to make sure both boards on the bottom are the same curvature. If not, I will make some little adjustments. And this next part took me a little while to figure out, but basically it's a 1x4 board going across the whole entire length of the wall. But then I measured each section, the front of the bed, the back of the bed, and then I made adjustments for the middle beam going across and the back beam going across. Then I made the adjustment by cutting that 1x4 board, and I put some supports underneath where the other crossbars or beams are going to go in the middle there. You can also add some additional supports underneath that 1x4 board. So now I'm going to paint all the boards that are going to be white. I'm going to use a roller first, and then I'm going to go over it with a brush, and then afterwards I'm going to sand it to get any brush strokes, smooth them out. I gotta angle it out a little bit because I need to put the board across the front in order for both of the sidewalls to stay up. Otherwise they'll just fall down. This is the bed. See right here? This is for my shoes. This board went all the way across here to that side. That's a ledge. That's what this sits on. Let's see if I can show you here. That sits on that ledge there. See that? So this part in here is cut out. Now there may be a better way to do that. I don't know. I used one board all the way across. Everything is secured with these brackets, with these L brackets. I put 2 on each corner. Oh my gosh, it fits. You know, I actually kind of surprised myself. And, you know, I don't want to sound arrogant or anything like that. This whole thing has been quite a learning experience. I'm not done yet, obviously. But I surprised myself, you know, and it was difficult. And carrying the wood back and forth and measuring a million times, making adjustments along the way. But I got it. It's secure. It's in there, you know. I'm happy. I'm really happy with it. Okay, let's check out this Lagun-style table. Putting this plate on is a little bit challenging because you have to line up this plate with this one in the back. It's a little bit challenging. And the screws are too long. I think this board is sturdy enough to hold it. So I'll get smaller screws, but at least I can test it out. But once you get those first two in, makes it pretty easy because now it's straight, so you can just push the other screws through. Went to the hardware store and I got 2-inch screws for here. I tell you, I'm using this black tape as an extra pair of hands. It works great. But anyway, I got this all measured out, and I'll show you why I went with this measurement here and why it's not completely centered. I just put 2 screws in because I want to test it again before I put the rest of the screws in case I have to adjust this. So in order to get the correct measurements, I had to put the seat up. In case at some time I want to be using the table and moving it around while the seat's up. So the way that the plate fits, as you can see, it's a little off center. Okay, here's why. When you open this up, it has to clear that. That's good there. That bar comes out like that. There's no way to really adjust this bar, I don't think. No, there's no way to adjust the bar. So it's mostly the table. So you can turn this table around. I wanted to have enough room to be able to move it anywhere I wanted. So you have to think of so many things. You can't just put stuff together. You have to see how they fit. I am learning so much. And I'm glad that I thought of this ahead of time to where I didn't make a mistake. This is the way it looks like underneath, and it's just a matter of putting in 6 screws. Very easy to do. Here's the piano hinge. It goes this way and this way. This way it can close. Just like that, right against each other. And then it creates pretty flush right there. And what's holding this up are the L brackets. So here are the struts. The way that this works is it has 2 sections. There's this section here. It's a kind of a thick part. This needs to go on the top, and then the rod needs to go on the bottom. Now there's 2 little plates. This one is the round one. It has a ball in the middle, and this one here is kind of flat, and it also has a ball in the middle. Now what you want to do is you want to take this little clip off. You're going to open this up and adjust it to where you want to put it. I believe it works best when this is about 2 inches up from here. There's a video that I watched that I'll put in the description to where you can see that he did it pretty easily, and I was able to follow along with that. But you have to get it to where when you close it, there's no tension over in here, because it needs to close easily. Yeah, so I got that figured out. You know, when all is said and done, it actually wasn't that difficult. More planning than actual work. A lot of work too, but mostly planning, figuring it out. Just figuring it out. Knowing what I wanted to accomplish was key. The first goal, of course, was to keep this whole area clear to where I can put these seats up anytime I want. I'll be extending my bed with a flip up there. I have a place for my shoes, which I didn't have before. I have a place for a good sized body chair. I've got a nice built-in place for my Jackery. I have enough space for food. I have enough space for clothes. I have more space in the back. Over here, I also have my bed split in two. My mattress is one solid piece, but my bed is split in two. The difference is that now will open separately. Our water container will go back there again. Right over here, I'm going to have my toiletries. So if you don't know what you want, it's hard to design something that's going to fit those needs. And I think the best way to do that is to be in your vehicle or your van, your minivan, whatever you're traveling in for a while. Because you're going to learn your style. And then you'll know how to build around the things that you can do to make it the most comfortable for you. And I will see you on the road soon. Watch this video tour for my self-built minivan camper. Lots of ideas, tips, and tricks.